3 games in, Oklahoma off to a terrific start as the Oklahoma Sooners are 3-0, including wins over Alabama and 2 wins in the Coaches versus Cancer, 1 win over North Texas State, and 1 win over Idaho State. This is the review of those 3 games. The first set was not part of the Coaches versus Cancer, but it was a great test and getting them ready for the next step of the Coaches versus Cancer between Michigan State or Virginia Tech, and for sure, Seton Hall. That game, Alabama from the Dalton SEC. They were projected to finish just behind Kentucky in that part of the division. But to start it off, they would have to start in the American Airlines Center in the NCAA Tip-Off Classic. Let's see how it went, shall we? Buddy Hield started off for the Sooners where he left for the Sooners as the leading scorer. 19 points this time. Algie Key had 20 for Alabama. The Tide was strong shooting in the first half. 46.7% field goal range and 22.6 from behind the arc. But Oklahoma wasn't too bad on their own sharp shooting in the first half. 41.7% from regular field goal range and 27.3% from behind the arc. But in the second half, the Tide cooled off. Oklahoma's defense may have had a little bit to do with it, but they cooled off significantly to a tone of 38.7% from regular field goal range and 12.5% from three-point range behind the arc. They cooled off, but Oklahoma heated it up just a pinch to shoot 41.8% from field goal range, and from behind the arcs, they really hyped it up to 40% behind the arc. For the game, Alabama shot 47.5% from regular field goal range and 20% behind the arc. And for our Sooners, they shot 44.4% from inside and 33.3% from outside. The shot of the game was Jordan Woodard, the true freshman from Edmond Memorial, as he nailed a 3-point bucket to give the Sooners the lead after the Sooners trailed by 16 points in the first half. Way to go, young gun. That's not it for him, as they now take the trip home 2.5 hours to Norman, Oklahoma for their home opener against a team from the Dallas area. Denton, as the University of North Texas came in. Once again, the man, Buddy Hield, was your leading scorer for Oklahoma. 23 points in this one. However, he was outdone in this one. 24 by Alzie Williams. In the first half, however, Oklahoma and North Texas. North Texas Mean Green, 41.7% from inside the arc, 44.4% from behind the arc, and 3-point range. But Oklahoma from inside, in the first half at least, they were 52.6% and hit dead on 50% from inside from outside the 3-point range. Second half, however, North Texas jumped up their game. They shot 48.4% from inside and 44.7% from outside. The Sooners, they upped their game to 53.3% for the game in the field goal department and 33.3% from the second half in the three-point shooting department. As for the game, Oklahoma and University of Northern Texas. North Texas State shot 44.8% from inside the arc and 44.4% from outside the arc. But our Sooners shot 52.9% from inside the arc And when they had to dish it out, they did 44.4% from 3 range. The play of the game was made by, again, Jordan Woodard, who hit the 3-pointer last time. This time, though, a little bit different. He gets a steal, gets an assist to Cameron Clark, and Cameron Clark dunks it home. All that happened in the second half. Way to go, Jordan. The final step for the Coaches versus Cancer Classic. Before Seton Hall, Idaho State would come whistling in, as Glenn Dane and Cameron Clark both scored the game high of the game, 14 for each. Idaho State in the first half threw up 40% and 30% from inside the arc. But Oklahoma was just a tad bit better, 48.3% from inside the arc, 33.3% from outside the arc. But in the second half, Idaho State slumped again, shooting just 34.3% and 25% from at 3-point range. And Oklahoma hooked up their game big time, shooting 45.5% from inside and from outside. In the second half. As for the game, Idaho State, they shot 36.7% and 23.3% from outside the arc by the Idaho Vandals. For Oklahoma, they shot 46.8% from inside the arc, 40% from outside the arc, giving the Sooners the win. The play of the game was when Ryan Spangler, that's right, Ryan Spangler from Tuttle, he hit a 3-point shot to give the Sooners the win the other night, to help the Sooners to a 20-point win, 85-65 in the Lloyd Noble Center, in front of a ton of people, including myself, Mark Rogers, the Lumber Lady, Kurt, a couple of the football players, myself, my dad, all of us, as they witnessed a big 20-point win over Idaho, and it could have been worse for the Vandals. Final score, 65-85. Now the Sooners prep for a huge road test. Seton Hall, and then they will in Brooklyn. After that, they will face either Virginia Tech or Michigan State. Number 1 ranked Michigan State, looks like. In either the consolation game or the semifinal game, depending on what happens in the Seton Hall game. But before all that happens, gotta go. Now, as for the women are concerned, I've not done their video yet. They are not done. They have 1 game left as they plan, as the men are trying to hoist up their championship trophy. Oklahoma women's basketball gets a chance to hold up theirs in the preseason. So that's why I haven't done it yet, but I'll do it by Sunday, I promise. This has been the breakdown of the men's version of the NCAA basketball. Thanks for watching, and as always, Boomer Sooner, everybody.